PlayStation 5 hunting has become an obsession for many, as slithers of stock occasionally surface at a handful of major retailers, often selling out in seconds, if not instantly. And it's these restock accounts that orchestrate the herds of shoppers towards available stock, and also run community groups on places like Telegram or Discord, where people discuss tips and tricks of how to best navigate different retailer websites. On the legitimate side, you have restock accounts that simply pass on information. On the ethically grey side, there are accounts that run raffle competitions for PlayStation 5s and other high-end technology, which they acquire presumably using similar tactics to what scalpers use, or any information they can get firsthand. One that I spoke with said he'd made £5,000 profit since January running these raffle competitions, which he plans to turn into a full-time job once PlayStation 5s are easier to get. But on the sketchy side, scams are popping up at an alarming rate, which feed off the scarcity of the console and also the frustrated gamers and parents by promising them resale consoles at reasonable prices via Twitter or Facebook. On Twitter, some high-profile accounts appear to have been hijacked by PlayStation 5 scammers. UK Labour Party politician Ahmet had her account taken over by someone offering to sell the console. When she got her account back, Ahmet looked through the DMs and found people who appeared to have sent money to the scammers.
I'm a fairly busy person, so I sort of glance at the phone, a few times every hour. Glance at the phone, and I saw an email from Twitter, which, to be honest, I can't even remember. I know it was something from Twitter, and I just went, I'll deal with it later. It was in the back of my mind, but I didn't think it was anything particularly important. I just saw email change, etc. At that, I thought, this must be pretty easy to change. Message Twitter, and literally they'd send something back going, your email doesn't exist, and you say, no, of course it doesn't, because they've hacked it and changed it, so I kept sending them updates. People were sort of jesting with me, sort of going, a few unfollowed me, not as many as I thought would actually, but some people said, we just kept wondering why we were getting inundated with these messages from PlayStation. And I suppose the thing is, PlayStation isn't it's a brand that so it's not as if you look at it, it's PlayStation, it looks fairly legit. So yeah, absolutely, it looked like loads of people were falling for it and transferring money and etc.
In a similar fashion, this account was previously verified and claimed to be an official PlayStation employee. The blue tick was removed at some point, and the account biography changed to partnered salesman for PlayStation. The account is constantly tweeting out offers to sell the console. But the handle, Go Mario Trindade, is exactly the same for Portuguese Paralympic athlete Mario Trindade on Instagram. Mario's Facebook account is verified, and it's not unreasonable to assume that Go Mario Trindade would apply to a gold medalist track athlete. I asked Trindade if this Twitter account used to belong to him, but he didn't respond to my inquiries. Another account that appears to have been hijacked was discovered by Twitter user Terrence Eden, who shared screenshots of a profile that has 20,000 followers, was started in 2009, and is apparently selling PlayStation 5s. The account belonged to author Tom Jones, who told me he struggled to get his account back.
So once I realised it had been stolen, I logged a support request with Twitter, and I had to do that. I did that a number of times, and each time they were basically saying there's no account with this email address or password. We've got no record of your thing ever existed. Terrence, the blogger I mentioned, who was first to tip me off, actually had recovered the Twitter ID from it as well, so I was able to use that. But each time I was just getting flat out refused. I was getting a bounce back, which was asking me for more information, and then when I provided that information, it was just getting rejected. So I didn't really know what to do. In the DMs, there were lots of examples of them sending message requests to other people who seemed to be looking for PS5s, saying that they had stock. There were messaging other Twitter accounts for PS5 stock levels, saying, would you like to buy this account? And there were actually exchanges going on where they were offering it, and people were concerned about how legit it was to buy a PS5 on Twitter, which is not something that I would ever consider doing. But also, intriguingly, it seemed like there were at least 2 or 3 occasions where they'd actually sold somebody a PS5 via this spam account, and the person had received it. Now, I've only got the few lines of text to see that, so I don't know whether that actually happened, or whether that was a ruse to cover their tracks or something like that. But they were doing this thing where they were like holding up someone's name on a piece of paper in front of the PS5 to prove that they had the stock. And then there were at least 2 or 3 examples of people who seemed to have received the item and then be happy about it.
I asked Twitter why it couldn't find any record of Tom's account, but it didn't get back to me by the time of publishing. Tom did manage to get his account back after my inquiry. Ahmet also got her account back, but she told me it took 8 days of contacting Twitter daily, in which time more people may have been scammed.
It was embarrassing, but it was also, I felt absolutely violated. You know, I've spent years, you know, campaigning, you know, and sort of building up this sort of whole history on Twitter, and it took them 10 days to respond. 10 days. I checked it just before I spoke to you. 10 days it took them.
When you got your account back, what did you see in the DMs? What's going on?
Oh God, so it was, hi, where's my PlayStation? Or is this real? Is this legit? It was just a whole load of, and I think the last one, when I did get it back, there was one that came through that said, I guess I'm not getting my PlayStation or something.
I asked Twitter why it took so long to retrieve Pere's account and how a verified account was able to operate scamming people for so long. The company told me the following.
It is against our rules to use scam tactics on Twitter to obtain money or private financial information. Where we identify violations of our rules, we take robust enforcement action. We're constantly adapting to bad actors' evolving methods, and we will continue to iterate and improve upon our policies as the industry evolves.
The good news is the supposed PlayStation employee account has now officially been suspended after I pointed it out to Twitter. Outside of scams, other restock accounts operate purely for the fun of it. One that I spoke with, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X updates, said they don't make any money from their work, rather they just want to help people buy the console. They also operate a similar Facebook and Telegram group. The updates account also says their restock information is based on speculation and knowing trends, but others I've spoken to told me they use a more intricate system called Street Merchant. Street Merchant works by opening up an automated version of the Chrome browser, which will then simulate a human going to specific predefined pages for a number of items. For example, the project is set up to look at 4 particular product pages on argos.co.uk, every version of the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Web security and performance consultant Edward Spencer explains to me exactly how Street Merchant works.
It looks like the code base is set up to check a number of stores. So I had a quick look, and obviously in the UK we've got Argos, quite a big retailer. So it had code in there to go and check Argos's website, specifically for PlayStations, for example. It had a catalog number for the PlayStations. You would run it on your machine, you would leave it, and it would constantly run. It would constantly sort of on a cycle. Every few minutes it would go and check a number of websites for the items that you want it to check for. When it finds that one's in stock, it can alert you a number of ways. I looked through it, and the code base did look pretty impressive. It's quite well looked after. It's got a lot of contributors to it, so it's up to date in respect of it is able to read quite a few websites. And if the website code changes that it's trying to pull the product information from, somebody will probably update the code base pretty quickly, so it would be up to date and still be able to access the product information.
So if you're wondering exactly how those restock accounts get their information, that's how. That's it from me. Thanks for watching. If you've got any news or tips, then get in touch via my Twitter or my Facebook page, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.